Hey everyone, welcome back to Racquet Guys. With the release of the new Pure Drive 98 and the increased popularity of the Pure Aero 98, we felt it was time to revisit the Pure Drive versus Pure Aero debate, but this time using the two 98s. Since its release 2 years ago, we have seen the popularity of the Pure Aero 98 continue to grow. The easy access to spin, along with the more controllable nature of the 98, appeals to a lot of intermediate and advanced players, and the increased overall playability of the frame from its previous generations only served to increase that popularity further. Now, for 2025, Babolat has released another player-friendly 98 in the form of the new Pure Drive 98 Gen 11. Much like the Aero 98, Babolat took what was a more challenging frame to play with and increased the playability in all areas, making it more popular and accessible than ever before. Before we jump directly into the playtest, we do have to do some of our usual housekeeping. Just like with the standard models of the Pure Aero and the Pure Drive, the static specs of both the 98s are extremely similar to each other. They both have a 98 square inch head size, hence the name, a weight of 305 grams unstrung, a stiffness rating right around 66, and both have a 16 by 20 string pattern. However, that is where the similarities end. The Pure Aero 98 is more headlight, sitting at about 7 points headlight strung, while the Pure Drive is closer to 3 points headlight strung. They both also have very different frame geometry. The Pure Drive has an elliptic frame structure that helps to optimize the stability and the rigidity for a little more power, while the Pure Aero has the iconic Aero modular frame shape, which helps to increase swing speed for more spin. The string beds, while the same string pattern, also differ slightly, with the Pure Drive featuring FSI power, which has increased spacing between the crosses that helps to increase overall playability, while the Pure Aero has FSI spin, which is a slightly more open pattern that helps to generate spin. With all that out of the way, let's talk about how they actually feel on court. Let's start with how they feel on ground strokes. I love the feel of both frames off ground strokes, although I definitely connect a little more with the Pure Drive than the Pure Aero. Both have the really awesome 16 by 20 string pattern, and therefore a little bit of a lower launch than the standard version of either. But the Aero, with its slightly more open mains, coupled with how the Aero promotes a more vertical swing path, I do find that I naturally get a higher launch with a little more spin, while with the Pure Drive, I was hitting a much more sort of piercing ball flight with a little less net clearance. Both frames are very stable on contact and are more forgiving outside the sweet spot than a typical 98. However, the Pure Drive 98 does have a more crisp response off the string bed, while the Aero gives you a little bit more dwell time. Personally, I like when a racket gives me more dwell time, so this is one area that I prefer the Aero, but with how both frames fit my swing, I do actually still tend to lean towards the Pure Drive for my game. At net, I think the more headlight balance of the Pure Aero gives it the edge. Both are very stable at net, but I find that the Pure Drive can be a little bit sluggish to maneuver, especially when having to make quick reaction type volleys. And this is even more pronounced when you're comparing against the easily maneuverable and just as stable Pure Aero 98. On serves, I don't really prefer one over the other. I feel that the weight and balance of the Pure Drive helped a lot when trying to flatten out my serve and add a little more velocity, while with the Pure Aero, I found more success adding a little more spin to my serves. However, the differences were really not huge, and I think with a little more time, I'd be able to hit basically the exact same serves with both frames. If you've reached this point and are saying to yourself, these rackets sound very similar, you'd be right. They do feel very similar to each other, and based on the listed spec of both frames, this is to be expected. However, because of the different frame geometry and the type of shots that both frames try to promote, they really appeal to very different players. If you prefer to bully your opponents around the court with spin and are looking for something that will give you tons of control, the Pure Aero 98 is probably more up your alley. If you like to hit big, aggressive shots on the baseline with a more piercing ball flight that's a little lower over the net, the Pure Drive 98 is a great option. At the end of the day though, both of these frames are great options for the intermediate or advanced player who's looking to add more control to their game, while still being a great option for those players who like to customize their frames. Thanks everyone for watching. If you have any questions about either the Pure Aero 98 or the Pure Drive 98 Gen 11, let us know in the comments down below. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe buttons, as we have tons more content coming out that you do not want to miss. As always, both the Pure Aero 98 and the Pure Drive 98 Gen 11 are available in-store and online at our Racquet Guys website. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.